before I was born. My parents came up here with an American dream in their heart that went all sideways, and they ended up being homeless out on the east side of Anchorage. But then my mom was able to get a job up at Prudhoe Bay as one of the first workers up there at the start of the pipeline. And it was that oil job that changed everything for us. They got into a mobile home. They got a starter home out on Lucille Street in Wasilla. And that was my first home. And then I had a wonderful childhood of playing ice hockey and fishing and doing things Alaska kids do. Graduated from Stellar in Anchorage. I started taking classes at the University of Alaska and graduated from Texas A&M. And then I worked for Senator Ted Stevens and learned a lot. He encouraged me to go to law school. That's where I met my husband, Nikki. And he's the son of an African immigrant, which is where I get my last name. And so my last name is pronounced Tshibaka, but it has all those consonants in it because it's a Congolese name. And so after law school, I dedicated my career to making government work for the people. I really believe the government's supposed to be of the people, by the people, for the people. And I can tell you more about that journey, but that wasn't my original plan. But after I got into my first job and saw how much government is designed to work against us, I decided, wow, it's really important that you have people in here who won't be bullied and won't be silenced and won't be controlled in order to make government work for us. And so I've helped to expose waste and abuse and return billions of dollars to taxpayers and hold insiders accountable. That's what I've done for the last 20 years. Was very content doing that and being a mom to our wonderful 5 kids, all of whom are still at home. Our first is about to leave for college. And so that's just kind of an insight into our lives. But last year, I was watching as our senior senator cast the tie-breaking vote to advance Biden's nomination of this radical environmentalist known as Deb Haaland to be our Interior Secretary. And it had come out in the confirmation hearings that she planned to pursue an energy annihilating agenda to end fossil fuel development, which he campaigned on and then would renege on if anybody called him on it. But it was one of his campaign promises. And the committee was split in half, and our senator cast the vote to advance her out of committee. So the only reason she got confirmed is because of a vote from Alaska. And it was that vote that killed just countless jobs across our state, oil and gas and resource jobs. So much of Biden's energy annihilating agenda has been spearheaded by Deb Haaland. And I felt it like a kick in the gut because that was the job that my mom had. And those are not just my mom's job, it's all of our jobs. Those are our ability to pay the rent, mom's and dad's ability to put food on the table. And now we're all feeling it every time we go to the gas tank. Everybody's feeling the cost of that decision. But our senator, as you guys know, she was appointed to the seat by her father. She's been in there 21 years. And she's really become part of this DC insider system. She doesn't vote in a way that reflects the values of Alaskans. She votes in a way that reflects the values of her friends in DC and the DC insiders that pay her bills. She's got most of her money coming from dark money outside the state, from big tech and DC insiders and radical environmentalists. So when I get asked why does she vote the way she does, well, everybody works for somebody. And the people who are paying her bills and that she's going to dinner with and having parties with, like what we're doing right now, those are the people who are influencing her. And I just have a little bit of a different vision for Alaska. I think instead of having a senator who was sworn in by Joe Biden and has been friends with Joe Biden for 21 years and is obviously doing the bidding of Joe Biden, helping write the legislative priorities that he has and pushing them through, I think that we should be protecting our jobs and blocking those shutting down our resource industries and building affordable housing. We need to be protecting our Second Amendment instead of helping Biden push through gun control, which she's done twice this year. We need to be protecting parents' rights in education and not supporting Merrick Garland, who calls our parents domestic terrorists. We need to be protecting healthcare in Alaska. We need our veterans getting benefits in record time and getting more mental health resources across the state and take care of vulnerable Alaskans like our senior citizens. I think it's really important that we watch our borders. Border security is critical for Alaska. An open border is not a border for America, and then they're bringing in people and moving them throughout the United States that are then crashing the social welfare systems in other states. And we need those benefits to take care of people here, like our Alaskan natives in rural Alaska. We need to watch that border with Canada. We see what happens with our supply chain disruptions when we feel it first and hardest when there's no peanut butter, no milk, no baby formula. We're feeling that border issue. And then you guys are well aware of the border issue we have with Russia. We are that border state with Russia. So borders are a really big issue that people talk to me about. We need to make sure that we are taking care of voting integrity. Voting rights is a concern people bring up. I get a ranked choice election every meeting I have. A ranked choice question every meeting I have. And how do we know that the election is going to turn out the way that Alaskans intended to vote? And so having a transparent system where everyone can vote once and it's counted is really important to Alaskans. But my opponent has voted to allow Merrick Garland to take over Alaska's election system. She's joined with the Democrats in trying to federalize elections, and that takes more and more power away from us and puts more and more power in the hands of the federal government. I really think what I'm hearing when I go around Alaska and everyone's saying it's time for a change, we're heading in the wrong direction, it's just this general theme of we're tired of the federal government overreach. I think that the government's supposed to be a little bit like those refs on a hockey rink, just two refs that regulate the game and call the fouls. If you don't have refs, the game gets a little bloody, right? But when we have 200 refs on the rink, we're all wondering why we can't play the game. And it's that control and overreach that we're really experiencing in Alaska. We're all in the penalty box trying to figure out what the heck happened and how do we get out. And my experience happens to be clearing refs off the rink. That's what I do really well. And that's what we're looking for, is a little bit more freedom, a little bit more respect for our rights. And this idea that there's a hope in a future where we can revive our economy, reclaim those rights, have reformed healthcare, restore those borders, and get election integrity. So it's common sense is the way forward for us. And that's why we have so many people of different political persuasions and different backgrounds just getting on board behind this team, because I think it's really one Alaska is the way forward. So what questions can I answer for you all?
You got a machine that's moving forward at a slow or maybe in a fast moving pace, almost like a tank with tracks. And you getting in there, just one person getting in there trying to slow that tank down, it's kind of hard to stop that forward momentum of the destruction of America that they're doing right now. Trump wanted to get in there and clear the swamp, and he had a hard enough time doing it. So what is your plan for trying to slow this machine down that's running over America?
Well, I appreciate that you recognize that there's not one senator who's going to rise up and be a savior for the nation, because it's a lot of pressure. And I sometimes have to be like, hey guys, there's not a pedestal in here and I'm not standing on it. And on the other hand, so often this Senate seat is that tie-breaking vote, that decision-making vote, that how is she going to vote? That's going to determine what happens. And so on the one hand, it's like one person, what can you do? And on the other hand, so often it's this person that does so much. And I think just changing out one vote really matters. But yet there's more. One thing that we're not doing with our Senate seats right now, we are not running a communication shop. So when you think of, there's 535 members on Capitol Hill. But if we played a game without using our phones, how many can we name? How many? Maybe 100, right? And those are the people who probably have communication shops where they've actually put their resources and invested in, I'm going to get a message out for a purpose, versus just doing legislative work. We are not leveraging the value and skill set of communications. And so we're missing out. As an example, 435 people on the House side, but who runs the House? And it's not Nancy Pelosi.
AOC.
She does. She has no seniority and she runs the House. And how does she run it? A selfie stick. Yep. She uses she's got a comm shop. And there's so much we can do with a comm shop. Now, I don't imagine a comm shop with Kelly and a selfie stick, please. But what about a comm shop that focuses on Alaska and Alaskans? And we're actually interviewing the real people up here that, I don't know, work at ANWR. Shocker. Do you know how many people in the lower 48 have actually ever seen the real ANWR? Or if we go out and we film Deadliest Catch, like not reality TV, but like just reality. And this is what's actually happening with our fisheries. Did you know that we feed America? You know, it says like Alaska salmon on your menu. Did you know that most of the fish on your menu in the lower 48 is from Alaska waters? Most of America doesn't know that. Do you know that we timber America, but now that we don't we don't cut down our forest? You want to know why housing is so expensive? having to import all that wood. So these are the things. What if we came up and we started filming these stories and showing what's actually happening, or how the Sitka spruce grows exponentially faster than any other tree in America? These are the stories I think we'd have natural viewership, because all of our reality TV shows are the reality TV shows everybody watches. So everybody would watch this just naturally. That comm shop turns the lower 48. We would start getting millions of lobbyists for Alaska, when right now, how many do we have? 3. And we need them, just like AOC, going to their senators and congressmen saying, vote for this, do this. We need to help those Alaskans up there. Do you know that they feed us? Do you know that they power us? Do they know that they're our national security? Do they know that they build us? We are the foundation for the country. That's how, because nothing stops that machine faster than public pressure. And then third, I happen to come from the watchdog branch, right? So in the swamp, there is this group, very tiny, very underfunded, very unrecognized, but their job is to hold everybody accountable. And they're embedded in the executive branch. And I can't think of one of the other 100 senators that knows how to leverage that function, because I don't know any of them that have actually worked their way up through it to know all the guidelines and the rules and the standards and the CFR and the procedures and the personnel rules and appropriations and blah, 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 blah. How do you tame this beast? But these are the offices that do that, and they report to the US Senate. So I'm gonna walk in and at my disposal have thousands of federal law enforcement officers, auditors, lawyers, inspectors, and agents all ready to go for me to say, hey, can you look into this? Can I ask you to look into that? And start partnering with these internal affairs offices to start holding people accountable. I don't think we're gonna maneuver a tanker like a jet ski, but I think that we will have an impact.